do it. I tricked you. What's up, everybody? Answers by Guess. I'm Guess. And this is week 7. We are halfway there. This is the Bon Jovi of the season. Half of us are living on a prayer at least. Let's get into the show. We got a lot to talk about. I want to make that bigger so everybody can see it. So let me try and make that happen. There it is right there. This is week 7. We're the inside scoop from outside the box. And I'm saying we, not because I'm as fat as 2 people, but because typically there are 2 other people that help me do this. Marty could not be here tonight. Rob could not be here tonight. We couldn't do it tomorrow morning because there's a London game again, of course. So it's me by myself. And when I do it by myself, I like to go pretty quick. It's just the way I do. Take that how you take it. So let's get into this right now. We're the inside scoop from outside the box. Make sure you follow us on Facebook especially, but YouTube is really what we're trying to get up. So subscribe on that. I already just got a notification that Answers by Guess is live. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to start with the Thursday night game. I mean, I pretty much said it verbatim on the Tuesday night show. I said, I don't like this spread. I don't like Pitt on the road playing Cincinnati. The Cincy offense looked really good in the second half against Green Bay. And like I wrote there, they picked up right where they left off in the second half against Green Bay. They went toe-to-toe. What a game. Probably, we've had a couple good ones. Last week was pretty good with the week before with Philly and the Giants. But this might have been the best Thursday game of the year. What a good game. 2 old men, the icy hot bowl. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers hater, a Green Bay Packer fan. I don't hate him. I was rooting against him. I'd like to see Cincy win that game. The offense picked right up. Joe Flacco did exactly what it looked like he was preparing to do from the second half with Green Bay. And I like Chase Brown going into it as best game of the season. Jamar Chase scored a touchdown. Higgins scored a touchdown. Noah Fant scored a touchdown. He was one of the players that I highlighted. Roman Wilson almost got that Hail Mary at the end, but I don't know. I digress. Let's move on. Let's guess game book. We're going to go through these, then we're going to get to all the posted questions. Nobody watching right now. Maybe you watch it later. Make sure you watch or skip all the way through. I don't care what you do. But what you should do, once again, is follow us on Facebook. Join the page, the group page. It's a great family in there. It's a lot of good fantasy football players. He was good before, but I'm kind of proud of Darko, who used to always watch the shows and chime in years ago. But he did what we want people to do, sort of check out the way that we do things and graduate and do it on your own. Fish for yourself. And he might have been good at it before that, but he did something this week, which I implored people to do on the Tuesday night show, and that was to trade the hottest names in the market and try and sell high. And he did that. And I'm interested to see how that works out. Guys like Scadaboo, Dowdle, and I forget who the third one was, but I digress. Let's move on. Let's get into these. So the Rams with no Puka, big X on your head, versus the Jags in London. Notice how I did not write at, because they're not at, they're just verse. They got enough firepower. Whittington will step in. He'll do all right. I don't think that that's somebody you have to use at this point in time. Maybe because of injuries, buys, whatnot. Maybe he had Puka and there's not much out there. Whittington is somebody to look at for sure. This will be an interesting game. I think Devontae Adams could probably have his game of the year because there is no Puka. Maybe they rely a little bit more on Kyron. Corum was banged up throughout the week. The Jags is sort of who I'm interested in. Head coach obviously loves ETN to death. We thought that Tootin was going to get a little bit more, but it's kind of not really happening. And Thomas sort of came on 2 weeks ago. Remember that. This was I talked about on the Tuesday shows. And it's everything we know that the NFL is so week to week. The NFL is ebbs and flows in a sense. I mean, 2 weeks ago, the Jags beat, would they beat Kansas City. And then last week looked relatively lifeless against Seattle, only could muster 12 points. So we'll see what happens here. I think that the Jags have a decent shot because there is no Puka there. This is one. I mean, Rob and I, when Rob's on the show and we talked about this for years, we felt like we were conspiracy theorists in the fact that we wanted, or the NFL wanted, a lot of points scored to get everybody in love with the NFL. I think that everybody's already in love with the NFL. So whether or not they stopped doing that, or whether or not it was ever really happening, last week with Denver and the Jets sort of just proved that wrong because that game was just terrible. But this is one that even without Puka, I think I'll wake up for. If I have Devontae, which I would never, but if I did and I've been playing him, unless I had better options, I'd feel okay going in. Whittington is a absolute dire need. I'm going to play Thomas, and hopefully he continues back to what he did a couple weeks ago. And the two running backs, just go ahead and roll with them. Oh, who's that on the milk carton? That's Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson. The Patriots are -6.5 at the Titans. This seems like a game to me as I was setting this all up, and I'm thinking about the games throughout the week, and I'm setting it up, and I'm like, you know what? Like, this just seems like one of two things are going to happen. Because Drake Mays just looked incredible, getting Diggs involved, who was banged up throughout the week, peppering all sorts of guys throughout the team, Hunter Henry and the ancillary wide receivers, Pop and Booty. But I feel like this game's either going to be Tennessee is going to shock in this game and win this one, because this is just seems like this was the beginning of my thoughts this week as a whole, as I analyzed and looked at matchups and saw who was in and who was out and what happened and what might happen. This week seems like we're going to be back to weirdness. I'm just going to preface this show basically saying that. Last week, week 6, I said finally a normal week. And I think that was our taste. Now we're back to weird. And I think it starts here. One of two things are going to happen. The Patriots and these two running backs who've been missing are going to run wild all over the Titans, or the Titans are going to somehow at home explode and show up and beat the Patriots. I for whatever reason, I feel like the Titans through the air will do something to disrupt Drake May. And if Diggs doesn't finish the game, just something, they're going to do something on defense. Drake May worries me a little this week. I think if the Patriots win this one, the two running backs are going to show up and they're going to have amazing games. But I kind of also have a feeling that the Titans will finally cement a solid win. So that's kind of how I feel. And they'll do it without Calvin Ridley. And I think that might be the reason that they're able to do it, right? Ridley's out. So I feel that's sort of what I feel like. They rise up with him out. And if I'm playing anybody in this game and thinking that I'm playing the Titans, so they're going to go off like crazy, I honestly think it's the two running backs. We'll see. Tuesday night, I come on the show, and I could be 100% dead wrong. If you're watching now or you're watching it, rewatching it later, call me out on it Tuesday. I just think if the Patriots dominate, it's going to be on the ground with these two. Otherwise, I think the Titans pull this one out and win this game and beat the Patriots, because the Patriots have just been seemingly dominated. They're becoming everybody's darling. Drake May, who I said beginning of the season, I said I like him more than Bo Nix. I feel like everybody is starting to like him more than Bo Nix. That's when the NFL goes, whoop, not so fast. And something like this happens. You're playing the hapless Tennessee Titans, but you're on the road, and that makes all the difference. So I like A. Minor. I like Pollard and Spears to do a little something extra in this one. But for the Patriots, I really think if you've been benching these two, this might be an opportunity for one or both to go off, break a couple big ones. And if it doesn't happen, I think that Tennessee wins this game. We'll see. Saints at the Bears. And for me, this one's all about Taysom versus the Bears defense. Yeah, that's right. I know the Bears have been relatively terrible, but they're always better at home. And the Saints, Olave banged up going into the week. Kamara's a shell of what he used to be. Taysom Hill versus the Bears defense. I'm playing the Bears defense in 2 leagues. I picked them up to stream them this week. If they're out there and you've been searching for a streamer, that's someone that I really like at home just because of their quarterback play. However, it could all fall to poop if Taysom Hill, with 2 full games under his belt, I mean, he only got the 1 carry, but it was a 1 carry, 1 yard touchdown. Slowly but surely, he's going to start working himself into more quarterback plays, more running back plays, more wide receiver plays. He's coming back from big injury, and he's like 47 years old. But he's still got what it takes, I think. He just hasn't gotten to that gear yet. So that's sort of what I'm looking at here, because the Bears last year, if you remember, if you watched us in season 8, Rob and I would talk all the time. It's like the Bears are a sneaky good defense. And they're even better at home. And I think the Saints are a really good matchup for them at home. But I feel like the one, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, the one problem they could have would be Taysom Hill. I'm playing Olave, even though he's a little banged up going in the week. If you've been running Kamara, I guess, maybe. But everybody else, I don't like Shaheed. He's a one-trick guy. Could he get that trick? Sure. But I just feel like there's better, higher floors out there. But this is the 2 I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Bears defense, and I'm looking at Taysom. Am I going to use Taysom? No. But I feel like the Bears defense won't do what I'm expecting them to do if Taysom, with 2 games under his belt this year, can at least give us a glimpse of old Taysom. Dolphins at the Browns. Look at that face. Why is that face there? Look at that over-under. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I get it, right? I get it. Dylan Gabriel's terrible. I get it. I really do. I get it. No Njoku. But are you kidding me? The Dolphins' offense has been just fine without Hill. They've been just fine. I know the Browns' defense has been amazing, but then you look at it and you look even higher up, the Browns are the favorites? This one stinks. You know what this says to me? This says to me the Browns are going to score some points in this one. That's what I think. I don't know if it's going to be Dylan Gabriel or if they're going to let Shador in. I don't know. But I feel like they're going to score points. I think this game goes well over, because in order for it to even just go over 20-17, I mean, like, come on, 34.5. Listen, I know there's no Njoku, but Fannin can do it. And not only that, they can put him in at tight end, bring another tight end, move Fannin to wide receiver like they've been doing all year, put Fannin at running back like they've been doing all year. Dylan Gabriel's a bit of the problem, but at home with their defense, and if they have to put the pedal to the metal at all, because the Dolphins have been playing relatively fine offense, this is an over-under that I'm looking at, and I'm thinking that's way too low. They're trying to get people to take the under because everybody knows Dylan Gabriel's been terrible, but they've got weapons. I mean, Bond has just missed a touchdown 2 times each of the, not last week, but the 2 weeks before that. Last week, he didn't do anything till the final drive of the game. I don't know what that was about. But if the coaches have any brains, they're going to work to get him involved. Hey, how about this Jerry Jeudy guy? I know that he's only really had 4 good weeks in his entire career in a row. Last year, towards the end. But they have firepower. And the Dolphins' offense or defense is terrible. We saw Kimani Vidal and Rico Dowdle absolutely destroy these defenses. You mean to tell me Judkins can't destroy this defense on the ground? This over-under is way too low. There's going to be points in this one. I'm not worried about the Browns defense if I'm a Waddle owner. They said straight up, we're not trading Waddle. It doesn't matter what happens. Teams were calling. The Miami ship is not quite sinking yet, and they've got players on offense, Waddle being one of them, then I'm fine playing in this game. A-Channel have a tough go against the Browns rush defense, but this over-under is way too low. Fannin is a player I picked up in one league, and I'm playing him in a flex. I think he's going to have a very nice week. I think the Browns score points in this one. I think this one goes easily over. Both teams get in the 20s, no problem. Panthers at the Jets, no Garrett Wilson. Zach Attack, I'll get to your questions in just a minute. This one's weird too. Panthers won 2 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Comeback victory was at least one of them. And the other one, I think they just smacked boots. And they're only 1.5 point favorites because they have to play in New Jersey. With no Garrett Wilson? Doesn't seem right. Well, winless Jets? I think Justin Fields is going to have to just run as much as he can. Breece Hall is my favorite DFS play of the week at running back. My 5 guy for your eye from a couple weeks ago, Arian Smith. Please throw him the ball. We've had enough Van Jefferson in our life. We've had enough, although he was a 5 guy for your eye early in the season, Tyler Johnson in our life. Mason Taylor, Arian Smith, Breece Hall, Justin Fields. Let's do some things. Arian Smith is one player that I'm really hoping can do something this week. And for the Panthers, listen, you lived your life, Rico. You had a lot of times last year, you were just sort of falling to get first downs or falling to get touchdowns for Dallas. You played against the 2 worst rush defenses 2 weeks in a row. Chuba's back. And I talked about early in the show, just like I talked about on Tuesday, people wanted to trade Chase Brown. People wanted to trade Saquon. I said, you are looking to trade the wrong people. You're trying to sell low, and look what happened on Thursday night with Chase Brown. You should be looking to sell high. You want to get rid of Kimani Vidal right now. You want to get rid of Rico Dowdle right now. I forget who the third one was. But you want to get rid of these guys, and you could get good assets for those. Chuba's coming back. Rico will still play at least 50% minimum, probably more, probably a 60-40 at least in his favor. They're also getting Jalen Coker back, who was a 5 guy for me. He was one of my layups because people know him, and he had a really good end of the year last year, but they can use him. Leggett splashed his first week back. Now Coker comes back. They got 3. They got 2-headed monster at running back. Jatavian Sanders back. How are they only 1.5 point favorites? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I think everybody's going to take the Panthers in this. And I don't know if I'm putting this up here, Zach Attack. I don't know if you are talking we're the worst ever, like the Jets. But I think that's the mindset of Public Joe. The Jets are the worst. That's the only reason I could see this line makes no sense. This is, again, as I was looking through everything, I looked through everything. What does Vegas think? What do I think? What happened last week? What happened a couple weeks? What happened in the past if they had matchups? How are these players trending? As I analyze, I put it all together and I come up with thoughts and I make a guess. That's how the show began. And as I was starting to do that after the Thursday game, all day Friday and early today, I'm saying this week's going to be a weird week. I just have a feeling. And since I'm saying that, it probably will be very normal. But I just have, because this one right here, nobody's going to expect the Jets to win this. People are going to be like, the Panthers, 1.5. The Jets don't even have Garrett Wilson. Sold. Yeah, it's weird. But I'm playing Tet. I'm playing my Panthers. And I'm playing my Jets. I think Brees Hall's going to have a good one. Eagles at Vikings. Take a guess at what the airplane means. Take a guess. Zach, you're the only one talking. There's 2 people in here. Comments help the algorithm. Likes help the algorithm. You could hate, you could cry, you can laugh. You got to do something. One of you people that are watching right now, please take a guess. What does that mean? It's not a trick question. I'll give 3 seconds. 2, 1. Both teams are going to air the ball out in this one. There's no reason not to. Yeah, you can run on the Eagles. Doesn't matter. I see this one being an aerial assault for both teams. Saquon. So again, Jeremy, I think it was asked, should I trade Saquon? A little bit worried about the last game. No. And what's going to happen this week is he might end up having another bad game. You are in Minnesota. You are playing against one of the top rush defenses. You go and try and trade for Saquon. The only thing I'd be worried about him is an injury. And I wish that on nobody. He was good last year, but they do run him a lot. But I'm not even worried about that. He has another bad week. I want everybody to go out and try and trade for Saquon after this week. That would be a smart thing. I believe they had their bye. Am I not mistaken? I think they had a week 5 bye. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to take too much time doing that, but they had a week 5 bye. You get a stud running back after 2 down weeks. I like him through the air this week. I like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, T.J. Stone for hands. I even like the running backs catching passes in this one. I think Carson Wentz is going to be just fine against this Eagles defense. We know that they're softer than they have been. Let me get to a couple of these questions right here. Zach Attack, should I start Drake May or is that Jaden Daniels? Well, we haven't gotten to that game yet, but that's another one that just has me cross-eyed. I honestly think, as I mentioned, I think you were here when I was doing it. I think that if the Patriots win, I think it's on the ground with their 2 running backs against Tennessee. I don't know why. I just have a feeling Tennessee's defense, who really has been non-existent for pretty much the entire season, is going to cause a little bit of fits to Drake May because Drake May is just soaring. His value, his stock, everything is just soaring. And it just seems like he's about to fall down that flow cliff. I like him. And I said it in the beginning of the season again. I liked him better than Bo Nix before week 1. And I said throughout last year. And I feel like that's everybody's starting to do it. That just seems like everybody thinks the Patriots are just going to run over them. And I think the only way they beat them is by running. But I could be wrong. But the Jaden Daniels thing just confuses the heck out of me. If I were to pick one, I think I would go with Jaden Daniels. I have no clue how he gets it done because all of his receivers are hurt. But I think I would go with him. It's so close. It's a gut call. One decision I was making was Jaden Daniels or Dak Prescott. And I had Jaden Daniels in, but tomorrow morning I might wake up and put Dak in because CD's back. And I just might be like, you're at home, CD's back, division game. Just go with it. But as of throughout the whole week, I've just kept JD in. So that's why I'm going to say JD, but go with gut. You're 1-5. That's not dead. It's not dead. It's early. We're halfway there. You're living on a prayer, but you're not dead. It's a big week for you. I wish. I don't know if you're on Facebook. I mean, most people are. Usually it's old people like me. But I wish that you were on Facebook and you were a member of the Answers by Guest group, because then what you could do is you could post pictures of your lineup and we could take a look at your lineup, and you could post pictures of the waiver wire. We could take a look at the waiver wire. We could see if maybe there's other things, because you're 1-5, but the problem's not Drake May. Daniels was hurt, but Drake May has been good all those weeks. So there's other things that are off with that team, is just my assumption. But you know what happens when you assume. So I'm going to skip over the Jets suck. Yeah, that's just since the beginning of time, right? Yeah, no Garrett Wilson as well. Moore or J-Mo? Are you talking? You must be talking DJ Moore, Alex. I mean, I said 2 weeks ago Jameson Williams was going to have a really big game, and then he did not. And I said I feel like I was a week early, and then he went and he had a relatively good game last week. And now he's going to be at home, and he's going to be playing against the Bucks, and the Bucks are likely down a ton of receivers. So, but they're like the old Bill Belichick Patriots. They don't take their foot off the pedal. They'll just step on they'll put your neck under the pedal and floor it. I think I would be leaning J-Mo. I think I would, because I really like Luther Burden for the Bears. And I think he's starting to come on. Moore was a little banged up throughout the week. I think I would go J-Mo and hope for some. I think that's Monday Night Magic. Is it Monday or Sunday? Correct me if I'm wrong. I can look up at it, but I think it's Monday. I don't want to waste too much time. All right, so I would go with J-Mo. Next, Raiders at Chiefs. There's my boy, Rashee Rice. We've been waiting for him to come back. He's back. Look at that spread. The spread is huge. I keep hearing one of my kids. I feel like they're always sneaking up behind me, ready to do something, and it's Halloween. Brock Bowers is back, but Geno Smith's been terrible. So the Raiders give the Chiefs problems. Most of the time it's when they play in Oakland or Vegas. It's tough. Casey's rolling right now. That's the only person I'm really caring about in this one. I mean, yeah, you're playing Genty. If Bowers is back, I'd probably use Bowers, because they're not going to rush him back for this one. That's a great question. Zach Attack's asking right on the spot. Over under 100. I'm going to say under, but he'll definitely have a touchdown, and it wouldn't surprise me if he had 2. I think they'll welcome him back. They'll use him between the 20s for sure, but I think one of the biggest places he's going to shine is when they get in the red zone. I mean, he's got a vertical. He's got great hands. He's a big body. When they're in the red zone or inside the 5, they'll like to throw the ball sometimes. If Kareem Hunt, their goal line back, which again said a couple weeks ago makes no sense, their goal line back is Kareem Hunt. You would never put those two things together in a sentence, but it's the truth. If he can't get in, I think Rice is somebody that they look to. Yeah, they got the little plays with Kelsey and things like that, and with the Worthy. But I think he's going to definitely get a touchdown. I think if there's a slam dunk touchdown this week, it's him. I'm going to say under 100, but it's in the 80s, 70s, 80s. I'm playing him this week. I've been waiting all season to do it. It was a suspension. Yeah, he was injured last year and missed the entire year, but he's been healthy for a long time. He was a little banged up in the preseason, but that was 6-7 weeks ago. He's good to go. You got to use him. He's their number one. He was their number one last year. He was the number one wide receiver in the NFL before he got hurt. Stud. At home, fans are going to be crazy. This Giants Broncos, I touched on it Tuesday. because everybody was so hyped up on the Arm and Hammer, the two bushwhackers there for the Giants, Dart and Scattaboo, living on a cloud. It's going to be tough. It's going to be like a brick wall. Can you sit Scattaboo? It'd be risky. It'd be risky because if there's any running back, from what I've seen, they played 6 games from the 4 games that he's really been active. He just has the attitude and the demeanor that it doesn't matter how tough the guy on the other side is. And I think that I think he's one that will embrace how tough Denver's going to be, but they're playing up on the top of a mountain, right? And it's different. And this is a game where it would not surprise me if they went right off the tracks. They hit the brick wall and just went to the left, veered off. I'm going to throw this up here. I like this, Zach. Zach, you want to co-host with me? I'm for real too, because Marty, who was a Answers by Guest family member. That's all. He started watching the show probably our 2nd season. He's been with us ever since. We're in our 9th. And Rob, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Rob is becoming extremely busy in his personal life and his professional life, that he just doesn't have the time. And it was going to be just me doing this, blabbing to myself in the basement like a weirdo. And Marty was like, I'll help you. And so Marty started helping. Sometimes they can't, like tonight, like last Tuesday. And listen, you're pretty good. You're asking these questions right on the spot. You ever want to get on the screen, give us a shout for real. Dart over under 50 rushing yards. I'm going to say under. They did a good job locking up Justin Fields last week. I think they could do the same. And again, Scatteroo is somebody who could. No Slayton in this game. Jalen Hyatt just missed a touchdown. Dude, I had how many was it? 5? It was either 5 or 6. And it was for like $10. $10. And I think it was to win 1,500. And the only thing I needed was a Jalen Hyatt touchdown. And he got the one arm on it. And the pass interference holding down the other arm at the end of that game. Dude, that was the only thing I needed was a Jalen Hyatt touchdown. He tried, but he couldn't quite do it. And without Neighbors, without Slayton, all they got is bologna sandwich, Jalen Hyatt, one-arm man, Scattaboo's attitude, which could be enough to fight Denver, but I just think Denver at home is going to be too much, and would not surprise me if the high that they were on last week after beating the Eagles becomes a very low no. Very real low. Colts at Chargers. I like the Chargers to bounce back on this one. I mean, they won last week, but we talked about it early on. The Colts defense at home last year and now throughout this season has been incredible. On the road, not as good. Daniel Jones, all you got to do is look. Indiana Jones, when he's at home, he's played better. He's played okay on the road, but much better at home. And I feel like playing in Los Angeles against this Chargers, who I still think has the best defense in the league. We'll see at the end of the year. I still think they're the best. I think this is going to be tough go for the Colts. I really do. And I like Laddie Boy to keep it rolling. Keenan Allen's sort of fallen away, right? He was real hot beginning of the season. No Quentin Johnston. Keenan Allen wasn't really there. Ladd McConkey steps up. So this is what I was talking about. I was like, I kind of like Romeo Doubs more than Keenan Allen. I think that was the comment I made earlier in the season. I don't play for week 1 and 2. I play for the rest. And Oronde Gadsden, The tight end for the Chargers, if you weren't paying attention to Five Guys for Your Eyes Tuesday night, this might be your last chance. I love him a lot in this game. More playing time, more targets, more plays. He's going to make a name for himself. He came out of my hometown, Syracuse, and rookie for them, I think 5th round, if I'm not mistaken, was a stud at Cuse. And he's going to be their guy. And if you're in a dynasty league, I think he's a pickup because I think he's going to be around he's going to be one of those guys that is a steadfast, especially with the team he plays for. Rondé Gadsden, if you are in tight end hell this week. And then on the other side, Tyler Warren as well. Jonathan Taylor will get it going. But Kimani Vidal, we'll see how he can build off this because the Colts defense, even though softer on the road, it's not Miami. And we'll see. I've been a Kimani Vidal guy for a year and as much of this year. So a year and a third. And so I'm not hating on him at all. They finally gave him a shot, but it was against the worst team and he blew up. So good on him. That's what you should do. Let's see if you could do it again. Can he? Maybe. I'd look for a better option, but I love him. I loved him going into last year. Commanders and Cowboys. Here it was again. I think it was Zach that asked me. This line makes no sense. I get it, right? But look at the over-under, 54.5. What does that mean? It means a ton of points are going to be scored in this game, according to Vegas. Line, 1.5. They think the Cowboys are going to just barely win this game. I'm just confused. How the hell are the Commanders scoring points? Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt must be about to have the game of his life, or Zach Ertz, or Luke McCaffrey, because they got nobody else. Terry's out, Debo's out, Brown's out. It's going to be I get that the Cowboys defense has been absolutely terrible, but their offense hasn't. And if your defense is playing against an offense that is going to struggle just to put breathing humans on the field with ability, that should be good for your defense, you would think. I think the Cowboys win this one convincingly, just for the lack of potential, the lack of anything. The wide receivers room is absolutely depleted. But then Zach says to me, well, you just told me to play Jaden Daniels over Drake May. That tells you how I feel about Drake May this week. I just got a bad feeling. I think if the Patriots win that game, it's on the feet of Ramondre and Travion. And I kind of have a feeling that Tennessee's going to beat the Patriots. It's just the way it seems. Tennessee's been terrible. Patriots have looked amazing. It's just setting itself up for that. But you got to go with gut. And like I said, I have a situation where I have Jaden Daniels and Dak Prescott. I've had Jaden Daniels in all week. But the more I looked at it yesterday, the more I looked at it today, I'm like, why? Why? He's going to have to do it all with his legs, or it's going to be Zach Ertz, or passes Luke McCaffrey. All he does every game is catch a 50-yard pass. Other than that, nothing. I don't know. I might wake up tomorrow and watch that game and put Dak Prescott in. I'm going with my gut, and I think you should do the same with Drake May. Other than that, the over-under makes no sense to me. I don't know how the Commanders are going to put up points. I don't care if it's against this quote-unquote worst defense in the league. Spicy, I'll get to your question in just a minute. Same with yours, Zach. I got to talk about my team first. The Packers are going to be at the Cardinals, and if you look at that picture, I see golden Kraft mac and cheese. That's what I see there. I am loving myself Matthew Golden this week and Tucker Kraft. Typically, I'm pretty good at navigating through Green Bay, my favorite teams, their random onslaught, who usually is a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Called the Dobbs game when it happened beforehand. I just got a feeling Cardinals are not good against the tight end. Matthew Golden is coming on. If you've had him for this long, or if he's sitting out there, get him now, get him tonight, or get him tomorrow before the game kicks off. Maybe watch the 1:00 games. If you got a guy on your bench with a 1:00, you drop him. If somebody doesn't own Matthew Golden, you need to. And I talked about on Tuesday, I said we've seen it before. When a backup veteran quarterback comes in, or a rookie backup quarterback comes in for an injured starter and has an exceptional game that nobody really expects them to, the next game, it usually shows their true colors. That's what we have here. Jacoby Brissett had an exceptional game last week, rose up all of the players on the team. If Harrison didn't get concussed throughout the game, he would have had a huge game, just like Trey McBride had a huge game. But he got knocked out. Brissett looked great. Well, now Brissett plays my Packers, and I hope, so it's hard when I talk about the Packers. A lot of times it's with my heart, but most of the time it's with my head, and they both are in line. I feel like the Packers will control this one. They will force Brissett into mistakes, but you got to play Trey McBride, obviously. I told you, stay away from the running back situation. Just stay away from it altogether. Now, Josh Jacobs might not play. I think he'll be good to go, but I think they'll use him sparingly, especially if they do get out to a lead. But you stay away from the Arizona Cardinals. You want nothing. You don't want Bam Knight, even though he's going to be fine and going to play. You don't want him. You don't want Carter. I think DeMarcado's out, if I'm not mistaken. So that's one less one to worry about. But you don't want it. You don't want it. For the rest of the season, you don't want it until Benson comes back. That's it. But I like the Packers a lot to control this one. I think Brissett gets forced some mistakes, but there's no way in hell I'm sitting Trey McBride. And if I need to, I'm playing Marvin Harrison. I have no qualms about it. But Matthew Golden and Tucker Kraft, just like that Golden Kraft macaroni and cheese, that's my two favorites for this one this week. And if and when they get up by 2 touchdowns, they'll salt it away with the 2 backup running backs. But those guys are not guys that you're playing this week. All right, so let's get up here. So Zach says, yeah, I know Rob from watching. Lad over under 80 yards. Over. I'm going over with Lad this week. He's going to top 100 this week. Would I flex Golden, Coker, or Luke McCaffrey? This is a good one. Listen, I'm not sure if this is your first time with us, but we do a Tuesday show, and I give you 5 guys for your eyes. Jalen Coker was a layup for this week. Layups are typically guys that most people know and have used before, but may not be aware that they are about to come back. Well, he's going to be back this week, and that's probably why you're asking about him. I like his situation. McCaffrey could be the only guy for Dallas. Otherwise, I know that they have other guys. I'm being ridiculous, but the answer is Golden. And even though they could get up and his targets would obviously diminish, they would not need to throw the ball. There's always a case that their defense does what their defense does. I'm talking about Green Bay, and they let Brissett throw the ball, and they have weapons. And you saw last week. I'm just saying, most of the time when a guy does that one game, you're not expecting it. The next game, they kind of fall off the tracks. That's not a guarantee. I'm going with Golden. I love his trajectory right now. He's the best wide receiver they have. McCaffrey would be a fine play, but you really run the risk of 1 reception for a maximum of 50 yards and nothing else, because even without anything else really there, they haven't had McLaurin. Debo did nothing last week, and what'd you get out of McCaffrey? I think 1 for 50 or something like that, 1 for 30. I'm going with Golden. He's the most talented receiver on the team, and he's just getting started. Over under 200 passing yards for Jaden Daniels. This is tough. Like, I really think that their game plan is going to be he could run, JCM could run, and they'll throw passes if and when they need to, and they can. 200 is such a low number. In the past, 200 was nothing. Pretty much every game, guys were getting 300. And Rob and I talked about it a couple seasons ago. We're like, remember when 300-yard games were like the norm? Now, if a guy gets 200, it's normal, which is weird because the game has become much more pass heavy. It kind of makes no sense. I'm going to say over. Yeah, they should. But it's the NFL, and that's been the theme of the week. It's why that same exact comment should be the Patriots should beat the Titans 99 times on 100. I just have a bad feeling about that game. Galaxy Packers, I like it. Rethinking started JCM over Odunze in my flex because of the Dallas matchup. I'm starting both of them in one league, and then I'm starting JCM in one league and Odunze in another league. So I like both from this week. I like the Odunze going against the Saints. Luther Burden is coming on. I honestly, I think I would go with JCM. I really think I would go with JCM. We saw Odunze sort of go away a little bit last week. In the preseason, I said he will be their number one. And for the first 5 weeks, it looked like that. Well, really 4. So I think they had a bye. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought their bye was week 5. Maybe it wasn't. But for all of them but last week, Odunze has been their best. And then they were just fine without him and ended up winning. And so I think that they've sort of realized, all right, we could use these other guys. They're getting Luther Burden more involved, who I really like this week especially. I'm going with JCM in the Dallas matchup. That's what I think. I think he can catch some passes in this one. I think if they get close, he's going to be the guy. So I just think that that's better. The Bears have a ton of weapons, and the Commanders don't this week. So Dylan Fink, what's up? Redraft full PPR, need wide receiver help 2 to 4. You got an offer to move Swift or JCM. Return to get Johnston or Marvin Harrison. Which running back do I move? Which wide receiver do I get? If I could move Swift and get Harrison, I would do that. I was a big fan of Swift heading into the season. He had a good week last week. They don't use him. Aside from last week, they don't use him how they should use him. It's annoying. I'm still waiting for them to do something with Roschon Johnson, whether that be trade him or get him involved. And I don't see anything like that with the Commanders. They came out 2 or 3 weeks ago and said, he's the only guy on this team that could do everything. He's the best that we have. And then the next week, you saw him do everything. And then again, 2 weeks or last week, you saw him do it. So I would want to keep him. I think he is in their full-time plans, and he is their main guy. Whereas sometimes didn't happen completely last week, but sometimes the Bears look lost. So if I could trade Swift for Marvin Harrison, I would do that. I was big on Quentin Johnston. His rookie year, he couldn't catch the ball. He was running terrible routes. He sort of did a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me type of thing. I didn't fall for it in the beginning of this season. He's been banged up, as you know, I'm sure. But if I could trade Quentin Johnston, or if I could avoid Quentin Johnston, get Marvin Harrison for Swift, I think I would be okay with that. If I am correct, and please somebody let me know, if my memory serves me correct, the Bears have had their bye. That's the only downside, is you're getting rid of a running back who already had their bye week. But I would do that. I just went to the next game, but that's okay. We'll get to it. You can see fist pumping jersey, George Kittle back there. Also, full PPR. Rank your top 3. Fields versus Carolina. Brisket. That sounds like what Marty was saying. Wentz versus Philly, Young versus the Jets, Darnold. We haven't talked about that one. Top three. The line makes me think the Jets get something right this week. And Carolina's a defense that Fields could finally run against. We have yet to see a game where Fields runs a lot and gets a lot of yards. Remember those? Everybody think back last year for Pittsburgh early on, the year before for the Bears. Every once in a while, Fields has these games where he gets boatloads of yards, touchdowns, running the ball, stuff like that. We haven't seen that yet from Fields. I'm thinking this could be the week where he just lets loose on the ground. So Fields is going to be in that top three for sure. And likewise, I'm going to put Young in. I like the trajectory that he's showing. I liked him, last year. And I felt like in the preseason this year, I said he's going to turn the corner like he started to do at the end of the year last year, now that they finally gave him the opportunity to start after their Andy Dalton experiment last year. Jets will be tough. Secondary is tough enough, but he's getting Coker back. His weapons are getting stronger. He's getting his tight end back. So I think I'm going to put him in there, and I'm going to put Wentz. I just got through saying when I went over that game that I think the Philly and Minnesota game is going to be won through the air. So I'm going with Wentz, Young, and Fields. And I'm probably going to go Fields, Wentz, Young, if you want me to put them in that order. Garrett, I'll get to your question in just 1 minute. Falcons, Niners. Well, all the Niners have is Kittle. Everybody else is hurt, right? Oh, Jennings is coming back, but Purdy's still out. Pearsall's out. Jennings will be back. But if you've been paying attention at all, I pointed out the fact that last year, I pointed this out as soon as Brady got Brock Purdy got hurt. I said, Mac Jones was the one that turned Brian Thomas into a superstar, not Trevor Lawrence. Mac Jones did it. And Mac Jones has proven to be just fine. So the Niners would be just fine. But again, this is a continuing theme. I said that in the beginning of the show that would be. It's a weird week. I get it. The Niners, you're at home. I get it. Kittle's back. I get it. Juwan Jennings is back. But the Falcons just destroyed the Bills. I feel like this is begging people to take the Falcons, which leads me to believe that, if conspiracy hat tinfoil is correct, they want people on the Falcons. I know that they set the lines to get even money. I get it. But they want people to be on the Falcons because recency memory tells them, well, they just beat the beloved Buffalo Bills. They're amazing. And now you're going to get 2.5 free points. The Niners have been banged up and underwhelming. Leads me to believe the Niners can be more than just fine in this one. We got a question that goes with this real quick, and I'm skipping over you, Garrett. I'm sorry. And the Lava King. Hello, Lava King. Do the Falcons run the ball more or pass in this game? It's a great question. I'm telling you, Zach, listen, when Marty doesn't come on and Rob can't join me and I have to do it by myself like this, you're just going to have to come on screen with me. So I don't know you any more than the times you have joined us, but I love that you joined us. And tonight you've just been killing it. When we're on the games, you're asking the right question. I need you on screen. I need a partner. Do they run the ball or pass the ball? Last week, I loved Drake London going in the game because he had yet to really do what he did. He did it. I think the Niners are going to have some offensive success in this one. I think that they will cover this spread. I really liked finally, I was a big fan of his in college. I don't watch college football much, never really have. don't really plan to. But for whatever reason, last season and maybe the season before, towards the end of the year, I really start to look at teams and I'm like, all right, some of these guys are going to be pros. And I really caught on to Michael Penix in Washington. I was like, this guy, I like this guy. But the beginning of the season this year, the end of last year as well, I was just kind of, maybe he doesn't have it. Maybe he doesn't have it. But last week, I like what I saw. And it was like they allowed him to do what he wants to do. They let the leash a little looser. If they do that again going into this game, I think you'll see an even, just sort of like they did last week. Excuse me. So I don't think that they run the ball more or pass the ball more. I think what they would like to do is sort of just what you saw last week. It's almost 50-50. Now, what happens is if one of them's not working, sometimes teams want to, we can't run the ball. We're going to have to pass. But the smart coaches, the good coaches, stick to the game plan. And I think their game plan is to be even. You can say, oh, guess. Well, that's a loser comment because, of course, most teams want to be even. Sure. But I think going into this one, coming off that win after making sure that things were even, giving Penix the freedom to say, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let me throw here, let me go there. That's what I saw in that game. And I think that with that big win, I think they realized, okay, we got something here. So I think going into this game, I think they will continue that. Who I do like in this one, who didn't do much last week, is Kyle Pitts. I do like Kyle Pitts in this game to resurface. So if I had to pick like a 3 tight ends that maybe people aren't drooling all over at the moment, it's Oronde Gadsden, Fannin for this week. I'm talking about Oronde Gadsden, Fannin, and Kyle Pitts. I think those 3 could be 3 of the top 5, let's say, tight ends for this week, and Tucker Kraft as well, because Arizona's not good against the tight end. Let's get through these last 2 Monday night games. Plus, you get the Sunday Night Magic in this one as well. And when Sunday Night Magic happens, it happens. Bucks and Lions. Are we going to have Mike Evans? Are we going to have Emeka Egbuka? I don't know. We don't know if we're going to have them. It just got brighter in here. I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. I've been waiting for Evans. I have him in my starting lineup right now. I will need to swap him out with somebody else. Who will I swap him out with? Not sure, because I play in mostly 14-team leagues or leagues where the amount of players that are on your team equals the amount of players as if it was a 14-team league. So waivers are kind of thin. But I'm hoping Evans plays. I kind of feel like he's got a little bit of a better shot. We'll have to see. But Zach Attack, I love you. Look at this. Baker over under 2 passing touchdowns. I'm going to say he gets 2. This over under's high. He gets 2. Bucky Irving's out. So they'll continue to go with White, Tucker. This one's tough. I talked about it on the Tuesday show. My love for Baker is not a secret. I've loved him since he came in the league. I loved him his last year of college. He was somebody who I was drawn to, and I was like, yes, that guy's awesome. And he went to the Browns, and I rooted my butt off for him. They did him wrong, and then danced around the league. And I'm so glad of his success. He is the leading candidate, I think, for MVP. It just sucks that all of his wide receivers are pretty much hurt. Godwin's out going into this one because this would just be an ultimate statement game. It's going to be tough for them because the Lions are starting to roll a little bit. Even with hiccups, they just are. I like J-Mo, as I talked about earlier. I think in this one, you play anybody who plays, just be prepared for them to stop playing if it's a Bucks guy. Let's get to the last one so we can get through all these. And there he is, Sam Darnold, you can't see him. He's hiding behind those live comments in the bottom right-hand corner. But he's looking up, and what is he looking up at? Ghosts. I remember not too long ago where Sam Darnold, quote unquote, I was seeing ghosts out there. He's playing against the Jets or against the Niners, because he played for both. I don't remember which it was, but I'm just waiting for that moment to happen. And the Texans have such a good defense that the last Monday night game, the last week of this, I'm predicting it to be a weird week 7. I could see the Texans defense showing up in this one, because I think their offense is going to have a tough time against the Seahawks defense in the 12th man. I think the Texans offense has to get back to Woody Marks in this one. So if you have him and you're considering, they went to him 2 weeks ago, they were really good. They went away from him last week, didn't look so good. 3 weeks, they were on a bye, but before that. So I think they have to go back to him. Nico Collins, of course, before the bye as well. They got Higgins involved. They were getting the rookies involved. They even had Xavier Hutchinson involved. They have to do that. It's going to be tough. Their offensive line's terrible. Let's get to these questions. I got questions from the group, but I got a ton of questions here, so I got to get to them. Garrett, thank you for waiting so long. Would I start Jared Goff versus the Bucs if my opponent is starting? Yes. I don't even want to read the rest. Yes. Or start Daniel Jones versus Chargers, so I'm starting JT. No. I would start Goff. You probably joined us after I talked about that game. But Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, he is much better. He has been much better at home than he has been on the road. More so, their defense for the past 2 seasons has played extremely better at home than they played on the road. Now they're playing on the road against the best, my opinion, best defense in the league. And your opponent has the top 3, I'm going to say it, top 3 pass catchers for the Lions. I'm definitely playing Jared Goff. Yes, I am 100% I am. Because worst comes to worst, let's just say you play Daniel Jones and JT, and JT runs in all the touchdowns that they may happen to score. Well, now you're screwed because Daniel Jones did nothing. Yes, I will always do that. I will always do this as a strategy mine. If I'm ever in a position like you and I'm going back and forth, I'll look at, hey, does my opponent have one of the best wide receivers for the team? And if you ask yourself that question, you say, oh, he has the 2 best wide receivers for that team and their best pass-catching running back. Yes, I will play Jared Goff in that. Once again, I say hi to Lava King. Question: do I start Amon-Ra or Drake London? I'll probably go with Amon-Ra. I feel like he's been a little quieter than usual. Drake just coming off his big game. Ebbs and flows, man. They're real. Not to say that Drake's not going to have a good game, but I think I would go Amon-Ra at home versus Drake London on the road. They're both a night magic type of game. So I'm going to go Amon-Ra at home. I think the Bucs will still put up points and put up a fight. Baker's not going to lay down. Diggs or Dowdle? Start right off. Blurpy, thanks for joining. All these people from YouTube, I absolutely love it. Listen, please subscribe. You'll be notified. I'm notified ASAP as soon as I go live. Typically, it's not just me. We've been doing this for 9 seasons. Typically, one of my best friends, Rob, is on here with me, or one of our Answers by Guest family members who's been watching us for at least 6 or 7 years. He's typically on here with me as a co-host if Rob can't join. Neither one could join tonight. So if you don't really like me blabbering at the speed that I am, you might like it better when they're here. Some people have their own opinions of anything, I'm sure. But listen, we do this twice a week. I do it twice a week, Tuesday night, halftime adjustments. And then we do this Sunday mornings or Saturday nights. So if it's your first time with us, I know some of you it's not, but it's first time with us, please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet and you watched us before, we would really appreciate it. Diggs or Dowdle? This is a tough one, a real tough one. Diggs a little banged up going into the week. And I kind of get the feeling that if the Patriots are going to go into this one looking to run the ball. I feel like I don't know why. There's no real reason other than just a hunch and just the weirdness feeling I get for what's about to happen tomorrow. But it just seems like Tennessee is going to do some things because Drake May he's just been ascending, skyrocketing. The trajectory is unreal. He's playing lights out. And it's just like they're just going to do something to stymie him. But then on the same token, Dowdle, he's done what he's done the past 2 weeks against the two worst defenses, rushing defense in the league, Miami and Dallas. So I'm not reading too much into that. I told people trade Dowdle on Tuesday night. I said trade Dowdle, trade Kimani Vidal. There was a third guy too, and I can't remember who it was, but I was like, you want to trade these guys now because their value is not going to be much higher. And you want to get guys with the values low. You want to go and try and trade them. I don't know if anybody would do it, but I said you want to trade them for guys like Chase Brown, who hasn't been doing much. And then look what happened Thursday night. Chase Brown had his best game of the year because it will happen. But you're worried about this week. Diggs or Dowdle. It's tough. You can run on the Jets, and Chuba's just coming back. Diggs was banged up all week. Oh, man, the Panthers are getting back a weapon as well. I would love to know what other options you had. Diggs has been killing it. I'm going to go with Dowdle, and it doesn't feel right, but I'm going to go with him just because if they get close, I had a feeling he's going to be the guy that pounds it in. So that's who I'm going to go with out of those two. Rams, Browns, Dolphins, or Falcons. Yeesh. I'll go with the Browns, just because the over-under in that game is 34.5. Although I do think their offense is going to score some points. Their defense probably out of this group. I know the Rams have been good, but I don't hate the Jags offense enough. So I'm going to go with the Browns. You have the Rams, and now was starting BTJ and probably leading the Browns. Oh, there you go. I didn't even read the rest of that. Yep. No, and you just said in the mid-30s. Yes, Blurpy. You and I are on the same page. Browns. And I'll go Dowdle just because if they get close, he's going to be the one to punch it in. Chris Bird, welcome for joining us. Should I start Tony Pollard, Michael Carter, or Pacheco? Definitely not Michael Carter. One of the things I said in the halftime adjustment show on Tuesday was just stay away from these Arizona running backs. Just do it. Doesn't matter. DeMarcado's out. Doesn't matter. Just stay away. Just stay away. No. So I'm staying away. Could you run against Green Bay? Sure. It's usually the speedy type of back that gets them as well. And that's kind of what at least Carter was coming out of college in his first couple of years for the Jets. The Pacheco thing makes sense. I've been waiting for the Brashard Smith thing to happen. It's not quite happening. My problem with Pacheco is that for some reason Kareem Hunt is their goal line back, which makes no sense at all. And I know Pollard hasn't been great, but he looked a little better last week. He's 2 games now with Spears, and for whatever reason, I just have a feeling about Tennessee tomorrow. So I'm going to say Tony Pollard. That's my answer. I don't know if it was the Taco Bell I ate or what, but I got a feeling in my gut about Tony Pollard or about the Titans tomorrow. So I'm going with him. I just think he's the goal line guy for sure. He's the lead back for sure. Michael Carter's not for sure. Pacheco's not the goal line guy for whatever reason. So I'm going with Pollard. We talked about this. I think Baker gets 2. I'm going to go under. He's going to be under 225. Zach, I'm telling you right now, he's doing the ABG 3P. Rob, if you're watching this, Marty, if you're watching this, I know you're not watching live because you both are busy tonight, but if you're watching this back tomorrow, Zach Attack is doing the ABG3P and he doesn't even know it. What that is propositions, prepositions, and I don't even remember the other one. I made it up. But anyways, it's will this be this or this? And you're doing it. And nobody even asked you to. Thank you. Start trade Pareco. Start Travion or Mason Taylor. Have you been watching the whole show? I asked this because I could go all the way back to it real quick. I don't know what slide it is. But I could go right back to it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Is it this? It is. Look at this. Who's on the milk carton? Patriots. Ramondre and Travion. That's who's on the milk carton. They've been missing. And I got a feeling about them this week. I have a feeling that if the Patriots win this game, it's going to be on the ground and those two are going to have solid games. That's my feeling. However, I have a bit of a stronger feeling, for whatever reason, that the Titans are going to pull off the upset. I just have that feeling a little more. Regardless, my answer is Mason Taylor. Just because it's against the Panthers. I know that they're easier to run on than throw on. But with no Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, if they don't get Arian Smith involved, by the way, if you first time watching those Pareco, please subscribe. We do Tuesday show as well, and I give 5 guys for your eyes. Arian Smith was one of my number 1 5 guys for your eyes either last week or the week before. Rookie wide receiver. They're going to have to use him now without Garrett Wilson because you're not going to go far with Van Jefferson and Tyler Johnson. So Mason Taylor is going to be their top wide receiver, in my opinion. And I'm going with him this week against Carolina for sure. I'm going to continue down these questions as long as we have them. Then we'll go to the questions from the group in case you're watching from the Facebook Answers by Guests group. And then we'll talk about those. Tutu Atwell or Emmanuel Wilson and Flex. So I'm just asking this question. Tanis Joshi. Is this a super deep league? Is this 14 teams, extra large benches? Is it 16 teams? I get the Tutu aspect, with no Puka. The Emmanuel Wilson, I've had a couple questions about him as well, just because of Josh Jacobs injured going into the week, throughout the week, questionable. If they do blow him out, they're going to use him a little bit more. But I really wouldn't want to use... super deep league. Okay, good. And you're riddled with injuries. Yeah, it makes sense. I don't love either one, to be honest. Yeah. Here's the thing. The Tutu thing, we've seen him explode and have really good games when there's no Puka. The early morning London game, and since you already have Travis, it worries me. I could see Tutu catching a couple of his toe-tapping sideline balls, possibly maybe one for a touchdown. I do think Whittington's going to get the most of that, but I could see Tutu doing that. But I honestly think that your floor might be Emmanuel Wilson because not only the Josh Jacobs injury stuff that I mentioned, and I see now that you mentioned game time decision in the bottom, but he does get a little bit of burn each game. And if it does get out of hand, if the Packers do handle business and cause fits for Jacoby Brissett, he's going to get a lot of burn later in the game so long as they don't give up the lead, which they love to do. If it was me, I would probably go Emmanuel Wilson and just hope for the best there, because Tutu, I don't think Tutu plays the Puka position. I think Jordan Whittington does. I would go Emmanuel Wilson. I could be wrong. Go with your gut there, but that's who I would probably go with. J Dabs. So Tanish, Joshi, and J Dabs, please subscribe to YouTube. It would help us immensely. It's free to do. Subscribe, notifications. You guys know the drill. We've been doing this 9 years. We've grown decently. We were stunted on Facebook because you ask any of the people in the Facebook room, they say, I don't want to share you with anybody else. Well, you're not necessarily sharing us with anybody else on YouTube, but it does help us grow if you just subscribe and click like and all that nonsense. PPR and half TEP. What's TEP? Craft or pivot to Ertz? Yeah, here's the thing. Ertz is going to have to go crazy. I mentioned that earlier when I was talking about the game, but I really love Kraft in this one. Here's what I think. I think Arizona is really bad against defenses, and that's why I love Kraft so much against tight end. And that's why I love Kraft so much. Dallas is also bad against tight end. And you mentioned it. With no Debo, with no Terry, no Brown, it's Luke McCaffrey and his one double-digit catch a game, and it's going to have to be Zach Ertz. These are great questions. If it was me, I'm probably playing Kraft. I think Ertz might be safer, but I'm probably playing Kraft. So it depends. The rest of your matchups, and this is why I love doing this too, because sometimes, maybe you do, but sometimes a lot of people don't think about this. Like, there's a vacuum where questions are easily answered. And this is why also I'm glad so many YouTube, like this is amazing tonight. So many YouTube people are on here. Not a lot of people on Facebook, although I do see one down there, Chris. He's a member of the Facebook family. But on Facebook, if you join the Answers by Guess fantasy football group, you can show us your entire lineup. If I could look at your matchup, your lineup, and your opponent's matchup, you could post the pictures. That sort of helps tilt things because you see, do I need safety or do I need to shoot for the moon? I would go with Kraft. I could get why somebody would go with the Ertz here, but Kraft is one of my favorites for this week. So I'm going to stick with Kraft on this one. Also, PPR, stick with Olave or risk Ibuka. I think I would just go with Olave. I like the Cam Johnson thing, but then there's the Tez Johnson as well. Mike Evans also might play. Otten's been coming on without him. I think I would just go with Olave. I know he was a little banged up going into the week as well, but I think I would just go with Olave. He's yet to. I don't think he scored a touchdown this year, has he? If he did, maybe it was early on. I think I would stick with him. I do kind of feel like Taysom Hill is going to continue to just get a little bit. I really like the Bears defense in this week, in this matchup. But I think I would go with Olave instead of risking Agbuka or playing Cam Johnson or Tez Johnson. If you happen to want one of two Johnsons for Tampa Bay, I would go with Olave. I think it's safe money. Nico over under 100. I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under against Seattle. He's been sort of underperforming this year. The biggest problem is their line. And they drafted 2 stud wide receivers, and they're getting Hutchinson involved more. They got Woody Marks to catch it out of the backfield. They'd be smart to get back to Woody in this game. They really would be. They got away from him. Get back to him. Because it's going to be tough. And I think their defense is going to give Seattle problems, so it could set them up. Nico could get a touchdown in this one, but I think he's going to stay under. He might get to 89, just below 90. Chris is asking the question, did you happen to answer my question? No, I did not. I did not, Chris, but I got them all loaded up, and we're going to get to those Facebook questions. I'm just answering these YouTube questions because we got an influx of YouTube tonight, which I absolutely am loving. Please subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, all that nonsense. Yeah, Super Duke Lee, we talked about that. Just didn't get the whole show. That's okay. You can always rewatch. That's the beauty of Answers by Guests. You don't need a DVR. You don't need any subscriptions. You can always just click it and watch it later. Tight end premium. Gotcha. Gotcha. So let me go back to your question. Oh, tight end premium. They're both tight ends. Didn't matter. Okay. Yeah, love it. You subscribed and liked. Appreciate the insight. Great content. Thanks, man. J Dabs. We're here every Tuesday, and usually it's Sunday mornings if there is no Europe game or whatever. These past 4 or 5, it seems like eternity weeks, there's an early game Sunday, so we can't do a 9 a.m. show. Because I'm not doing a show while there's football on, because I got to watch it, I got to look, I got to learn and analyze and all that jazz. So typically it's Sunday mornings, but if it's not Sunday mornings, it's Saturday nights. And typically it's not just me, but it has to be tonight. I can also start Alec Pierce and Michael Mayer. I think Brock Bowers is back. Tajay Spears at the flex spot. Tanish, this was you with the Tutu or Emmanuel Wilson. Oh, baby. I think I would like Tajay Spears. Man, I like Tajay. I don't know why. It's stupid. I feel like you'll be so pissed off at me if you do it. But I just have a feeling about Tennessee. I really do have a feeling about Tennessee tomorrow. And that's why I want to go Tajay, because they're going to need the help. There's no Ridley. It's Alec Manor. Maybe a little Chiga Conco, like Pollard if they get close. Tajay Spears hasn't really done much. He's coming back from injury. Now he's at home. They're playing the team that everybody's starting to hype up about, Super Bowl contender, the Patriots, Drake May, the new Brady. Boom. I like him. I would go Tajay Spears, dude. I would. Back to the Jets game. Hall over on. Yeah, he's over. He's over. Love it. Thank you. I hope it works out for you. Listen, nothing makes me feel more bad. Like Sunday, my teams could be doing well. I could win. But if I know I gave bad advice, I feel like I lost. So I'm hoping for you all. Have a pretty good track record. Don't want to toot my own horn. Don't want to waste time with that. I got a lot of Facebook questions to get to, but I got a feeling about Tennessee. Let's see if it goes through. Let's get on to the questions from the group. Dobbs or Addison? Jeremy, I'm going to go with Addison. Why? Because I think that the Vikings and Eagles game is going to be through the air, and I really like Golden and Kraft for Green Bay. Tanner says he won't blame me. And that's the other thing. I give my advice, but you do have to make the final decision. But I appreciate that, but I get it. Because you asked for the help, and I just feel bad if I give the wrong help. But I feel like I give the right help right now. I like Spears. Go with Spears, buddy. Thank you so much for joining us. Rob, my old co-host, there you are, asking questions. See, he even comes and asks questions still. And sometimes he just texts them to me. And now, you know what I should do? And Rob, you're watching this right now, whether it's live at 10:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or if it's Sunday morning, or if it's a couple hours from now, I should tell you what I tell everybody else. I should say, post it to the group. But guess what? He already does post to the group, because sometimes people try and PM or text, and I go, post it to the group. It helps the algorithm. Rob knows that. That's why he does it. Kyle Pitts or Waller? I get the Waller thing. He's coming through a couple weeks in a row, but I really like Kyle Pitts in this one. Since I said his name earlier, I'm sticking with it. Kyle Pitts, another league. Taylor or Otten? Oh, man. I'm going to go with Taylor. I'm going to go with Taylor. One of the other Tampa Bay wide receivers will play, and it'll take a little bit off of Otten. So I'm going to go with Taylor. I think with no Garrett Wilson, I think that's smart. Sharp, who I do like, he's kind of also their goal line guy, but Hunt is more their goal line guy. Or Knight. I'm staying away from the Arizona. Rob, did you not watch the Tuesday show? Hunt is the goal line back. But I'm going with Sharp. Going with Sharp. And Stevenson or Monty. See, it's like we're on the same wavelength. I'm going to go Stevenson. I'm going to make a bold call. And put a little eggs in those baskets because I said it's either going to be Stevenson and Henderson have a good game and the Patriots salted away on the ground, or the Titans are going to win. And I've been doing a lot of Titans winning, so I'm going to put some eggs in that basket. I'm going to go Stevenson. Next question. Jason asked for the show. You can sort of see his stuff on the side. Some of it's covered up by that. Starts listed here. Bench includes Waller, Walker, Devo's not playing. ETN. Feeling very confident with the starting line. I'm not sure the Rams D. Yeah, we talked a bunch on the group page. I'm going to just click these comments off there. He's got Kraft in there. He's got Scattaboo, who I'm interested to see how he does against this defense. I expect a little bit of a brick wall-a-thon. But I like to see that you got McConkey in there instead of Devo. Yeah, it looks like you're pretty much good to go. I think that's a good lineup. We talk quite often. He's a member of the group. He's always asking questions, and we appreciate it. Chris, you got a cross-eyed face, and you asked about that question. Let me put you back up here. Did you happen to answer my questions? Well, now I'm going to answer your questions. And I'm glad that you came on here, and I probably wasted your time, and you're probably mad at me. But you're probably not, because you've been a member for a long time. And I love you, and you probably love me. Would you drop Sharp or Marks to bring Egbuka off IR to make changes? So I started to put the first picture, and I started to put the second picture, and I'm running out of space for pictures, and I realized you had like 4 more pictures. My eyes got crossed. So here's what I'm going to do, dude. I am going to, after the show, when I go upstairs and pour myself a drink, I'm going to sit on the couch, put on a horror movie. 'Tis the season. Although I watch horror movies all year long. And I'm going to scroll through my phone. I'm going to answer your questions personally in the Facebook group because you just had too many pictures. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not even going to be able to see them. But this would be a good opportunity to let people know. And it just so happened that we had a lot of people come from YouTube. So it's great. If you join the Facebook group, you can put pictures of your lineup, pictures of the waiver. And I can dive deeper into all that. And if you join Patreon, which the QR code is in the top right-hand corner, you can do all that via PMs, direct messaging, and get it done even more seamlessly. But that's what I'm going to do for you, Chris. I'm sorry if I wasted your time watching the show, but I appreciate you tuning in. It really, really helps. I hope you got some entertainment out of it. But I'm going to personally answer your questions directly because a lot of it involves I really got to look at it because I'm not taking Egbuka off IR until I'm 100% sure that he's playing. But if you have to make changes, I need questions answered. Maybe you could answer them here so that'll streamline what we do later in the group. Can you not put a guy in to a wide receiver from the bench and vice versa if the IR is not right? Usually it's you just can't add or drop somebody or make a trade if a guy's on IR that shouldn't be. But are you saying that if there's a guy on your bench and all you want to do is put him into wide receiver, you can't even do that unless you fix your IR situation? Because if that's the case, that stinks. Wow. Beguiling Chance Poopin. The best viewers on streamboo.com. I love when the Twitch people come in and give us some spam. If you guys want to check out whatever this nonsense is, I highly suggest you don't, but I'm letting them get their 15 seconds. Just so you know, before 8:30, dude, I'm going to do it right after the show. I don't know what time you're going to bed. But once I'm done here, I'm going to go right to your question, look at everything, and answer it directly. It was just too many pictures for me to put on. I'm really sorry about that. I tried to, but I literally didn't get cross-eyed, but I was just like, you know what, it'll just be a mess and it'll mean more sense to you if I could just do it straight up there. This one's even hard to see. Pick one wide receiver, pick one flex. Um, hmm. So he's thinking the two wide receivers. He's thinking Bourne and Atwell. And I'm thinking the two running backs, Marks and Spears. That's my answer, Derek. Derek, a longtime member of the Answers by Guess as well. I hope it works out for you. Go with your gut. I'm going with Marks because they're going to have to turn to him. They have to utilize him like they did the last time they did, and it worked out. And when you went away from it, didn't. And I have a little bit of a feeling about Tennessee, so I'm going with it. Bourne, I can see it, but they're getting some weapons back, so I don't need them as much. And Atwell, still, I think Whittington fills the Puka role. So I'm going with the two running backs who will catch passes. You need a wide receiver in the flex. Son of a mother. All right, so I'll go with Atwell, and I got to pick a running back. I'm going to go with Atwell and Marks. Atwell and Marks. Those are my choices. Choose two at running back. Mason Scadaboo. Actually spelled Scadaboo, and not how he spells his last name, which is Scadabo. I don't know why he pronounces Scadaboo. Mason Scadaboo, Dowdle, Marks, Pollard. If CD doesn't play, is playing. Would you play Addison or one of the remaining running back at flex? CD's going to play, and you're going to play CD. I think I would put Addison at flex. And I think I would go. It's crazy. I want to go with Mason, but I don't like how the coaches they easily chop him out of that game for Scott if something goes his way, and they're using Scott just a little bit too much for me. I get the draw to Scadaboo, but I don't trust him versus Denver. I do think that if there's any running back that can give it to him, I think that Scadaboo's that dude. And the Dowdle thing, he's losing some. That's a tough one. I think Marks and Pollard is where I want to go. I just don't think that's the safest. I think you'll be pissed off at yourself if you bench Scadaboo, but I kind of feel like you have to. I think they might use Tracy a little bit more this week, try and get around that edge. God, you just look at that list, right? I mean, the first two just seems like I should just do these two. I think you got to play Addison at the flex. I think the Eagle Minnesota game is through the air. And I'm just going to make a quick decision to get through this. I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going Marks and Pollard. Go with your gut. I just think that Houston has to get back to using Marks like they did a couple of weeks ago. And I have a feeling about Tennessee tomorrow, and I'm just riding with it. I'm riding with it. I'm not going to go against it. I would not shame you at all if you chose either of the first three. I'm a Jordan Mason owner. I'm a Jordan Mason truther. From the beginning of the season, I drafted him in my most important league. I just don't like when a ball gets punched out and he gets benched for Xavier Scott for X amount of snaps and drives. Things that aren't even his fault. And I think that game's going to be more through the air, so I'm going to choose Addison over him. Scadaboo, I don't like the matchup. Dowdle, I do like the matchup. It's just, although still not a great rush defense, it's the toughest rush defense he's played for the past 3 weeks, and Chuba's coming back. So I'm going Marks and Pollard, and I'm moving on. And that's all we got here, so let me get to what we got here. Beaningsworth. Would you start Tet, JMO, Worthy, or Kamara this week? Yeah, I know Tet's going to be the guy. They're also getting, I know he's going to be on Gardner, but they're also getting Jalen Coker back too, who had a really good last couple games of the year with Bryce Young. First time they've had him this season. That's going to take a little bit off of his plate. It's not going to help this game, but it will later on. I think Jalen Coker is going to be a sneaky something this week. JMO, I recommended him early on. The options were not as good. I think their Rice coming back is going to eat into Worthy for sure, because I do think that Mahomes is going to do his best to feed him and get him acclimated as quickly as possible. And Kamara's a shell of himself. So this is a great question, Beaningsworth. If it was me, I'm probably going to go, and it doesn't seem like it's right, but I'm going to go JMO. And the reason I'm going to do that is because of Sauce. And they are in the game where I feel like the opponent that they're playing has the best chance to put up a lot of points against them and keep him involved. The Bears could score a lot of points against the Saints. But if that were the case, then he catches a pass out of the backfield. So is Kendra Miller, who's been stealing things from him finally this season. But they would move a little bit more towards the downfield guys. And Worthy, I'm not so sure if Geno Smith is going to be able to score too much on Kansas City in Kansas City, even with Brock Bowers coming back. And the Jets, I think the Jets are going to do their best to run the ball. I think Justin Fields is going to finally have one of those games where he has over 100 rushing yards and just busts 2 or 3 really long ones, scores at least one, maybe 2 touchdowns on the ground without Garrett Wilson being there. He's just going to say, hey, you can run all over the Panthers. That's what I'm going to do. And that will help the clock sort of come off. And with Sauce being on, Tet and Coker coming back, that sort of takes a little there. Detroit will not take their foot off the gas pedal. JMO 2 weeks ago, I thought he'd have a big week. Last week he finally did. It was a week too soon. I think it continues. It's Monday Night Magic. I go with JMO. That's what I got. You can't make any change. Okay, so I'll get to that right as soon as I'm done with this. Logan Schmidt, thanks for joining us. We got a couple more. Keep coming in. Do I start BTJ in the rain in London or start Mike Evans? This is a very tough choice. If you didn't start BTJ, you would have to be able to pivot in case Evans doesn't play. However, what I do say is BTJ showed signs of life a couple weeks ago. Last week, the whole team fell on their face after their Super Bowl winning against the Chiefs game, and they had the hangover. The rain helps wide receivers. I am never afraid. We've been doing this for 9 years. We say it every single year. The rain helps wide receivers. I'd be more worried about BTJ and the Jags defense being able to stop the Rams better without Puka. It would slow down the Rams offense, which would mean the Jags offense doesn't need to push it as much. They don't need to play catch up. They can play a little more conservative. We'll see if that works out, because the Jags defense is not terrible. I do think the Rams will be relatively okay without Puka, but they're definitely not going to be the same team. That would be my main concern. Whereas Mike Evans, Detroit is going to be able to score, especially at home. And if Evans plays, he's going to get peppered like crazy. If I had a backup option in case Evans doesn't go Monday night, I'm benching BTJ and going with Evans, and then just crossing my fingers and hoping he plays and hoping he makes it through the game and doesn't have a re-injury of sorts. If you don't have that gut of steel and you can't make a pivot when it gets to that point, then go BTJ. I don't hate it. But we got to remember a couple things. The positive side, rain is going to help a wide receiver always. They know where to run. Defense doesn't know where they're going. They can make the cuts. It's easier for them than the defense. That's something that people often neglect to understand. And two, Mac Jones made BTJ, not Trevor Lawrence. Although we had signs of it 2 weeks ago against Kansas City, I think the norm is what we've sort of seen. What we're going to get is what we're going to sort of see. So if I can get Mike Evans, I'm playing Mike Evans. That's where I would go right now. Who should I start? J.K. Dobbins or Travis Etienne? I'm going to go with Etienne. Dobbins, for me, I wish no malice on anybody, but we're just waiting for him to get injured again so that Harvey can be the lead back and take the world by storm. I'm going Etienne. The coaches love him, and he's been doing great this year without Tank Bigsby to worry about. So I'm going Etienne. Start Woody or Spears. Caleb, it's like you've been watching the whole show. These are my two wish in one hand, poop in the other players of the week. I have a feeling that Houston realizes we've got to do what we did a couple weeks ago and commit to Woody as our guy. And if they do that, then they're going to be able to have some success against the Seahawks. If they don't, it's going to be a struggle. Spears, I think this is third game back now. So coming back from that injury, and I have a feeling about Tennessee. I think that they're going to beat the Patriots. And if they don't beat the Patriots win, it's going to be on the backs, the feet, however you want to say it, of their two running backs, and not so much Drake May. I think Tennessee puts up a real fight in this one, and I do think they pull off the upset. Don't ask me why. Makes no sense, but I have also a feeling this week is going to make no sense. However, out of the two of those, who has the biggest shot to really make a splash? I think it's Woody. So I think I would start Woody over Spears in this one out of those two. 18 league. So Jameson Williams available on waivers if it comes to that. Oh, yeah. Yep. That's what I'm doing. Perfect. If it comes to that, that's what I'm doing. Playing Mike Evans, who doesn't play, I'm taking him out and putting JMO in. I feel like that's an okay. All right. I guess I will. Right? You might miss out on something with BTJ because the rain is going to help him, but it's the 9 we saw last week with the London game. We all should have stayed in bed and slept through that. And if you did, you're lucky. It was terrible. Are they all like that? No. We've been saying for 9 years that we feel like the NFL wants points in those European games to make European people fans. Oh, it's so exciting. So much scoring. But last week wasn't the case. Could it be that again? I don't think it'll be that bad. I just don't think the Rams are going to be as offensive without Puka. They do have playmakers, so they still could be. But I think that allows Jacksonville to be a little more conservative, which is why I like ETN. Zach asked the question. So if I could stay away from their wide receivers, I will. And putting Mike Evans in and pivoting to Jameson Williams if I have to, I think that's the smart move. Dacker Jaden, this is a question I'm dealing with myself, dude. Stephen Pierre, thanks for joining us. All you YouTube people tonight, I absolutely love it. Typically, we are mostly Facebook, and we've been trying throughout the entire season this year. This is our 9th season doing this. And I'm saying even though you're just staring at one fat old dude on the screen. Typically, it's me and one of my best friends, and then another member who was just a fan of the show for the past 9 seasons. And he decided to come and help out because one of my best friends is becoming extremely busy in his personal and professional life, that he can't do it every Tuesday night and every Sunday morning. And we're not doing it Sunday morning, doing it Saturday night because there's a game. So I'm doing it by myself. We've been doing this 9 years, and we have a decent following on Facebook, and we've really been trying to push on YouTube. So all of you watching from YouTube tonight, love it. Thank you so much for the questions. Please subscribe, like the video, notification bell, all that nonsense. Now, Dak or Jaden, I talked about earlier in the show. That's a question I am dealing with myself in one league. I've had Jaden in all week long, and I've been considering switching to Dak as of this morning because I'm looking and I'm like, who the heck is Jaden throwing to? It's either going to be Ertz or to the running backs, or McCaffrey might catch his token 130-yard pass. Lane might get something. And I'm just like, maybe I should go with Dak. CD's back. They're at home. And I have a feeling, and I'm not going to set myself up and make myself do it, but I have a feeling at some point tomorrow I might switch to Dak. And just think the Cowboys are at home, and they're just going to just let Dak chuck the ball. But as of now, I've been going Jaden. So I have to be honest. As of right now, I'm Jaden, but they're so close. They're neck and neck. For me, like, I don't rank each week. I have more of a mental but I do look at rankings, and so many people have Jaden Daniels as like the number one this week, and that it's boggles my mind. Boggles my mind. And I know the reason why, because everybody thinks and sees that the Dallas defense is terrible. Yeah, when they're playing an offense with players. Commanders don't really have that as much this week. I kind of, that's why I'm sort of leaning Dak. As right now, I'm Jaden, but listen, in the morning, when I won't be able to talk to you anymore, I might go with Dak. So I think take with that what you will. Waller, Mason Taylor. I think I had this exact question earlier. I'm going Mason Taylor. No Garrett Wilson. I'm going Mason Taylor. Evening, brother. Evening to you. I have Green Bay defense with Trey McBride at tight end. Keep Green Bay or drop for the Browns, Seahawks, Finns, or Bears. I like the Bears defense this week. I'm using them myself. I got no problem keeping the Green Bay defense in. Everybody's defensive scoring is different. If you can get 14 points scored on you, and hopefully Trey McBride scores one of those touchdowns, I think you'd be okay with Green Bay if they get some sacks and interceptions. I've talked a lot about Jacoby Brissett in his game last week, how he looked great, but we've seen before, sometimes these backups come in and they have great games, and then the next week they don't. The backups or the veteran backups or the rookie backups. And I said that on Tuesday, and now they just so happen to be playing Green Bay. And I just have a feeling it could work exactly that way. So I think Green Bay is a fine defense to keep in. Plus, they've already had their bye. I know the Bears have as well. But they're a solid defense. And Micah Parsons really is yet to get going. This could be a game where the quarterback isn't super mobile anymore. Maybe he gets a sack or two. So I'm fine sticking with Green Bay, even though you have Trey McBride. I hate doing that as well. I hate having a defense where I also have an opposing offensive player, so I understand that. If I went to anybody else, I'd go to the Bears, even though their defense hasn't been great. But I do like how well they play at home, and I do like their matchup. So I think I'd stick with Green Bay, but if I went with anybody else, it'd be them. Also, do you think it will be an upset if Josh Jacobs misses? Do you think it will be? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they'll be able to beat him through the air. I love Matthew Golden and Tucker Kraft in this game. Golden's trajectory is just about to take off. You can see it each and every week. And Tucker Kraft just hits a great matchup. Arizona's bad against the tight end. And I think that this is a game where Green Bay, I'm a Green Bay fan. I usually have a pretty good feeling about it. I not too nervous about this one. They have two great offensive players in Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison, but I think that they can do it without Josh Jacobs. I think that Jordan Love can get it done against this defense. I really do. And I'm not the biggest Jordan Love fan as a Green Bay fan. I'll tell you that. Trade A.J. Brown for Mike Evans. No, I don't think I would. I don't think I would because A.J. Brown's had his bye. Mike Evans has not. Also, A.J. Brown has yet to really get going, and it could be this week. I think that the Philly-Minnesota game is going to be an air mail, for lack of a better term, game. I think both teams are going to be able to air out the ball. It's going to be high-flying, less ground stuff. And Evans is much older, continually injured. He's not Iron Man like he used to be, if he ever was. And we've seen the first injury now that was supposed to be about this amount of time, and he's barely back and might not even be. I'm not trading low. And Mike Evans, even when healthy, wasn't superb so far this season. No, I'm not doing that. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Please subscribe, like, notifications, all that nonsense. Chris, I will definitely once I get off, but the questions keep coming in. I absolutely love it, but I will get to it. Antonio, a man. Antonio, I want to know real quick. Do you live in Italy? What country do you live in? I want to know. Shaheed, I'm not a Shaheed guy. Hollywood. Rashi Rice is back. Or Dobbs. I don't like any of these options. I feel like it's a golden and a Kraft week, especially with Jacobs a little bit banged up. If I had to pick one of those, God, I really dislike him because he's just a one-trick pony type of dude. But Olave's a little banged up, so I'm going to do it, Antonio. I'm going to do it just for you. First time ever. I'm going to recommend Rashid Shaheed. That's what I'm going to do because I think they'll be playing from behind. I think they'll need his one or two big plays down the field. And, yeah, I'm just going off of volume and necessity there. Shaheed, let me know where you live. I'm coming. I'm already playing Luke McCaffrey. Okay, so what were we talking about with you? So you got Jaden. Okay, and you have to use Luke. Luke only gets one catch every game for like 30 yards, sometimes 50. He's going to need to do more than that. Yeah, I think that by the morning, I'm just going to be like, the heck with it. They're at home. They smell blood. Division game. Take the Cowboys. Defense shows up for once this entire season. But I'm not there yet. I'm like 50.5 to 49.5. It's so damn close. Chris, also Jaden Baker and Jones, pick 2. See, I'm going back and forth between Jaden and Dak, right? So with that being the case, I think I would put Jaden has to be one. And I think I would go Mac Jones, believe it or not. Because he's at home, the matchup's a little easier. He's getting Kittle and Juwan Jennings back. I don't think Christian McCaffrey has caught a passing touchdown yet this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it could be time for that. So I'm going to go Jaden and Mac. Mac Jones. Pittman or Dobbs. I don't like Indiana Jones on the road so much this week. Indiana Jones. I don't like him that much. Playing against the Chargers, who I think is the best defense in the league once again. And Dobbs, I'm just not feeling him. I called the big game from him before the 3 touchdown game. I kind of get a pretty good read. I could be wrong. I like Tucker and Golden in this one. So I'm going to go with Pittman. Mr. Ebb and Flow himself. He's the most ebb and flow player in the NFL, Michael Pittman. Kenneth Walker or DeAndre Swift. I'm going to go Swift. Swift at home against the Saints. Yeah, Swift. I know that Walker's at home as well. Currently have Rams defense, but also have BTJ. Should I keep it as it is or pick up the Bears or Jets? I really like the Bears defense this week. I really do. If you definitely are playing BTJ and have to or want to, which is fine, I like it. I don't mind the switch there. The Rams have been good on defense. They've been very consistent, probably one of the most consistent scoring defenses in the league this year. But now they're in London. They're without their best offensive player. It could change some things. I like the Bears defense. I just have a feeling about them this week to make some plays on defense at home. I like the Bears. I'd go with the Bears. I live in Mexico. I was wondering if you lived in Italy. You live in Mexico. Very cool. I love it. This dude's an OG as well. You see the Facebook right there on his name. Antonio, we got more YouTube people joining us tonight than we ever have before. I'm hoping they all subscribe. I'm hoping they all click the notifications, all that jazz. We're trying to get bigger on YouTube. We got a pretty good following on Facebook 9 years in. The Smitty is one of the people that has joined us on Facebook 4 years. He's asking Waller or Fannin rest of the season. Fannin, you know why? And Njoku's going to get traded. I got a feeling Njoku will be traded. And this week will be the first, what the heck's the word I'm looking for? Audition for can we do it with just you and without Njoku? I know Njoku's hurt, but are you that man? Are you that somebody? Aaliyah said it best. Are you that somebody? I think so. Timberland helped her with that. I'm going Fannin. I get the Waller thing. A couple touchdowns here, another touchdown there. I'm going with Fannin. That game at 34.5 makes no sense to me. Fannin's going to have a nice week. Very nice week. I'm playing him in a flex in a league. Knicks or Caleb. I know it's going to be 20 to 30 mile per hour in Chicago. Yeah, it's going to help. I'd probably go with Knicks. I see no problem with Knicks being at home against the Giants. I mean, the Giants' defense is not great. I mean, they've had flashes, but let's go with that one. I think that's fine because I also think that the Giants, even playing against very tough D on the top of a mountain, and although I do think that Arm and Hammer, Dart, and Scattaboo will have some difficulties this week in Denver, I do think they're a better offense than New Orleans is, which means Denver's offense will need to continue to push the ball more so than I think Caleb's Bears will. So I'm going with Knicks. That's a relatively easy one for me. Jags or Philly? Let's go with the Jags. Why not? I don't love either. Bears is someone who I'm picking up if people, are struggling with something this week. I think that win situation, that Hunter from Twitch. Hunter, well, let me put him back up here. Let me get him some love. Hunter _M 2017. I want to give you a congratulations. You are the first non-spam bot from Twitch to comment. We've had a Twitch spam bot probably 3 out of the 7 weeks, 3 out of the 6 weeks. We won't count this week that we've done this, but we did do in the preseason. So 3 out of 7. You were the first living human soul to do a comment. So we thank you for that. I'm not familiar with Twitch. We just stream on Twitch. I don't know if you could like, subscribe, share. What do you do? Whatever you can do to help us grow on Twitch, it would be greatly appreciated. Jaguars or Philly? I think the Philly game is going to have a lot of points, a lot of it through the air. I'm going to go with the Jags. And just hope that they make something happen and force Stafford into some mistakes. Who do you think is going to win in Miami or Cleveland? Zach, you are absolutely in fuego tonight. You really are. From the moment I went live. Like, I got no co-host, no Rob, no Marty, nobody helping. But you've been here all. I'm not even joking, bro. You have like just perfect questions at every step of the way. Who I think is going to win, Miami or Cleveland? I think in my heart of hearts, I think Cleveland's going to. I kind of want them to, but I think Miami could give them a push, a little bit of a push, and I definitely give Miami a shot. If I was, I forget what this line was, 2.5, something like that. I know the over under was ridiculous. Let me look. Yeah, 2.5. Miami plus 2.5. I think that this could be another one of those ones where it comes down to like a field goal at the end. Miami's winning by a lot. Cleveland sort of comes back. I mentioned if it's not Gabriel, maybe they have to turn to Shador. Maybe he comes in and does something, excites the whole team, type of thing. I don't know. Weird week coming. Who's the better team, though? That's the thing. I'm going to go with Cleveland. I'm going to go with Cleveland. Yeah, Twitch comment. I see that, Rob. Motive. Need some help with one of my flexes in the deep guillotine league. Still live in the guillotine. I love it. Michael Mayer, Tyler Higbee, Tez Johnson, or Chris Moore. I'm going to, you know what? Let's go with Tez. And just hope and pray that either Evans, let's hope and pray, I don't know, because I own Ibuka in leagues. I own Evans in leagues. But I really want Evans to play. But I think what you'd have to hope is that one of them doesn't go. And the Higbee thing, I'm sorry, man. Oronde Gadsden's the dude that you want. You got Bowers coming back. I think Tez Johnson, I guess. I would see, here's another thing. And I mentioned this to somebody before as well. I love so much. Rob, you're with us? Dude, there have been so many YouTube people on tonight. Rob, that's my boy who is the OG host for the show. Couldn't help out tonight, so I'm doing it myself. Been tons of YouTube. Absolutely love it. The most has ever been. I hope you subscribe, notification, like the video, everything, this, that, and the third. But this is why I would also love for the YouTube people, if they are like us old dudes and they are on Facebook, go on Facebook and join the group, because I would love to see Motive's waiver wire. I'd love to see the waiver wire. I'd love to see if there's someone out there that I've posted a 5 guy for your eye of. Like maybe Oronde Gadsden is sitting out there. Because he's putting Tyler Higbee up. Maybe Gadsden's sitting out there. Maybe some of these guys that I've highlighted over the past few weeks are sitting out there. I'd love to see it. So Motive, if you have Facebook, I think it's Fantasy Football Answers by Guess podcast. It's right there. Fantasy Football Podcast Advice Hub. Something along those lines. We're the inside scoop from outside the box. We're always a step ahead, dude. If you're on Facebook, join there, and please let us know your motive from YouTube. If you do go through with this, let me see that. And if I see it tonight or tomorrow morning before everything kicks off, I'll see if I like anything better. But looking at this list, I'd go Tez Johnson and just consider that one of those guys won't play tomorrow. There he is. Twitch comment. Yeah, he's our first ever. I love it. Well, not the first ever Twitch comment, the first ever living, breathing human. Thank you, Zach. Zach's been on the ball tonight, Rob. I told him he's got to be a host. Colts or Chargers? Chargers. If I'm playing the defense, I'm playing the Chargers if I'm picking from the two. Talked about it all night long. And we talked about it in other weeks as well. The Colts are a better team at home. Indiana Jones has played better at home. Their Colts defense is far better at home, which we saw last week. And the Chargers. That's what I like. Happy to hear. Just getting home. I hope everything was good. I'm glad to hear you got home safe. Zach Attack, Philly or Minnesota. This guy, see, he's on the ball. He knows that I've been saying all night. It's going to be ton of this, ton of that. I'm going to go with Philly to win on the road in Minnesota. Yeah, Chargers. I know, Chris. He says, no, I meant who's winning. Chargers. Chargers are going to win that game. They're going to be at home because the Colts aren't as good on the road. Chargers going to win. Who's going to win this one? Philly. All right. I think that's it. I think I caught up. We still got 12 people watching, and I hate to kick you all out. Like, you don't got to go home, but you can't stay here. But I've been live for over 2 hours. I've had a friggin' blast. It's been amazing. I do this every Tuesday night. It's called Halftime Adjustments, Answers with Guests. Right? Go through the week that was, set us up for the week coming up. I give you 5 guys for your eyes. Those are people that you probably, a lot of times, people you've never heard of. And I pull them out of thin air and they appear. Next thing you know, a week or two goes by, and all the people that get paid to do this have them in their top 5 pickups for the week. You don't believe me? Ask somebody from the Facebook groups. It happens all the time. So I do that, and we talk about the Thursday game, and then we come on and we do a Saturday night show if there's an early Sunday game, or we do a Sunday morning show if the games start at 1 p.m. Eastern. This week we have an early game. That's the reason I'm on here now. I think that's the reason you're on here now, because more people are awake on Saturday night than Sunday morning. But it is what it is. And if you're here from YouTube, please subscribe. It would mean a lot. It's free to you. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to us. This is our 9th season doing this. And we got some good reviews. We've given some good advice. We got another question here. Jacob Bander, welcome. Thanks for joining. Need one. Cup, Judy, Chris Moore, Booty. Man. I was talking about Judy because, I mean, his entire career, he's had 4 good weeks. And I think they were all last year at the end of the season in a row. Right? Other than that, he just does about nothing. I can't with the Cup, and I don't think that the Houston defense. I sort of feel like Darnold could see ghosts again. And the Booty, I think that if the Patriots take care of business, I think it's going to be on the ground. And I know he's been super consistent. Diggs a little banged up. I'm going to go with Judy. And it's ugly, and it makes no sense. And the over-under is 34.5. But the defense is relatively soft. And, like, if you look on whatever, the rankings with defenses, and you say, the Dolphins have a relatively good pass defense. No, they don't. They have a, yeah, they do. But I'll talk about that in a second, Jacob. Oh, I'll put it up. Same dude. Yeah, heavy wind and rain expected. Rain is going to help wide receiver. The wind does not help. Well, what will help in Judy's case is the short underneath stuff. But yeah, I'm with you with that. I agree. And that's a good reason to go against it. But what I'm going to say is, the stats will lie, and that's what statistics do. They're meant to lie. They'll say that Miami is a pretty good pass defense. No, they don't. They just don't give up a lot of pass yards because they give up so much damn yardage on the ground. So teams just run crazy on them. So now their yardage per game is not as bad as other teams through the air, but their pass defense is terrible as well. The Cubs situation, I just have no interest in it. I think Houston still, I think that they're one of the top defense in the league. Their problem is their offensive line. It gets their offense in trouble and makes them stay stagnant. Their defense has been solid. If I'm wrong, about how the Patriots would win the game, Booty is probably your safest choice, in my opinion. But I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm going with Judy. The heavy wind and rain, I get it. Um, the rain, I'm not afraid of. We just have to dodge that wind. If we wake up in the morning and we get a glimpse of it, or if a meteorologist tells us the truth for once and it's above 18 miles per hour, maybe that'll shift me and just try and go with something conservative and safer like Booty. But I'm going with Judy just because that's where I think that's where we're going to find success. And I know a lot of people are going after Chris Moore because of the Washington situation. I mean, he's a 30 something year old journeyman. He finds success here and there. They'll need him. I just don't think that's where I want to go this week when I have these three other options. He's definitely fourth on my board. McBride or Ferguson. Ferguson's tough because, again, the Dallas defense is going to be either really good for their offense or really bad. If their defense steps up, then their offense won't need to push the ball downfield as much. And that's what's going to hurt Dak, right? You understand what I'm saying? If they can stop Washington enough that their offense doesn't have to do what it's had to do all year and push to keep up, that's going to hurt. I feel like McBride's going to have to stay in that. I'm playing McBride over Ferguson. Let's get 2 touchdowns or a touchdown 2 weeks in a row. Sorry. Packers or Eagles? Let's go with the Packers. Let's go with the Packers, Antonio, because it's Jacoby Brissett. And I know he's at home, but like I talked about in the Tuesday show, he had a good week. And most often than not, the backup veteran or the backup rookie, they look good their first start, second start, they crash down to earth. And Micah Parsons is yet to really get going. And I think that Minnesota, is going to do some damage to the air for the Eagles. So that's about it. All right. If there are no other questions, it's been 2 hours and 13 minutes. My eyes are bleeding. I need something to drink other than this. If you have no more questions, I also have to answer Chris's questions. Appreciate it as well. Please subscribe to YouTube. Join Facebook if you're part of it. Chris, I appreciate you. But if nobody has any other questions, that's it. I wish you all the best of luck. Please, if I'm wrong about Tennessee, I got a feeling about Tennessee. If you're joining us late, I think they're going to pull off the win tomorrow. If I'm wrong, they lose 40-0, because it could happen that way as well. But if they do lose 40-0 and it's on the backs of the running backs, then I kind of was right. But anyways, call me out Tuesday night. I'll see you Tuesday night. Best of luck tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.